And from here, we cut live across to Annual Business Summit 2025, where armed service chiefs are addressing a session on defence. We will have the session with Air Chief Marshal A.P. Singh, Admiral Dinesh K. Tripathi, Chief of the Naval Staff, Shri Rajesh Kumar Singh, Secretary, Department of Defence. We'll take you live there.
Mr. Sanjeev Puri, President CII, Shri Baba Kalyani, Founder, President of SIDM, Senior Officer Bearers of CII, Excellencies, distinguished members in the audience, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. It is my pleasure to be here in the annual Business Summit of the Confederation of Indian Industry and interact with the transformational leadership of the industry. The CII has been a catalyst in bringing together vision, policy, and enterprise to drive national progress over the years. Starting as the Engineering and Iron Trades Association in 1895, the CII has indeed become a trusted national player, actively shaping India's developmental efforts over the last 130 years. I also want to compliment all partners of India's defense ecosystem on what we have achieved and the galvanizing focus accorded to make in India by DPSUs, PSUs, MSMEs, and many startups. The success of our indigenous platforms and systems has extended Make in India to Trust in India. And the theme of this year's summit, Building Trust, India First, is most apt and timely. Ladies and gentlemen, we just heard the inspiring inaugural address by Honorable Raksha Mantri in the plenary session. I have no doubts that all of you would have taken note of his vision and expectation. So in the next 9 minutes or so that I have been given, it will be my endeavor to provide you with an overview of what and why we envision in the Navy in terms of harnessing the strength of our industry through collaborations and partnerships. To start with, let me clearly state once again that India was, India is, and India will always be a maritime nation. Not just by design in terms of geography, which all of you are aware, but also by destiny in terms of our future growth. The strategic maritime identity, what I just described, was aptly articulated by Honorable Raksha Mantri last year. And I quote him, "We were once known as a landlocked country with seashores, but now we can be seen as an island country with land borders," unquote. If you look at India's history, we have a rich maritime past and an unbroken seafaring tradition. Remarkably, all of you are aware, we are the only country in the world with an ocean named after us. Today, India is once again realizing its rich maritime potential, and the apex level vision and policymakers are aware, and their statements are reflective of this broader maritime renaissance. Our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, had made a clarion call of Sagar in 2015, security and growth for all in the region. And building on this legacy over the last 10 years, the vision has been rightly elevated to Mahasagar, or mutual and holistic advancement of security and growth across regions. This year, again in Mauritius. To my mind, this is reflective of India's growing stakes and steadfast conviction that our destiny as a nation lies in reclaiming our oceanic opportunities as the foundation of our future prosperity and global influence. As we look to become the third largest economy in the next few years, the seas will remain our engines for growth. I say this because amongst a plethora of data, I'll just quote two: 95% of India's trade by volume and 88% of our energy comes from the seas. Rest, you can do your math. So India's economy is and will remain dependent upon the seas, and by corollary, our future prosperity will be driven by, at, and from the seas. To safeguard our interests in the oceans and ensuring maritime security, the Indian Navy is committed to modernization through focused capacity building across all 5 domains: surface, subsurface, air, space, and cyber, and that is where all of you come in. So like I said, in building these capacities that I enunciated, our engagement with all of you, the industry, will be a key component in the years ahead. So here in the Indian Navy, we have adopted 3 mantras of indigenization, innovation, and integration. Firstly, the indigenization is our core priority. It has always been for now more than half a century. We are committed to becoming a fully Atmanirbhar force by aircraft carriers and SSBNs at sea. We continue our efforts to be self-resilient and reliant in other critical domains, and we in the Navy will continue to push you, that is you as industry. Innovation is Indian Navy's DNA. Stephen Johnson, in his book, Where Good Ideas Come From, says that, and I quote him, "Innovation does not come from giving incentives. It comes from creating environments where ideas can connect," unquote. Which is why organizations like Naval Innovation Indigenization Organization, NIIO, that we formed in 2021, work hand in hand with industry to accelerate technology development. We talked about IDEX, and I want to tell you that the IDEX scheme as a technology incubator has seen its allocations jump 3 times in the last 2 years. And finally, the integration, which is the ability to work with industry to bring together cutting-edge technologies across domains and develop a whole greater than the sum of its parts. Now, this convergence approach platforms different technological capabilities into force multipliers, where artificial intelligence enhances maritime surveillance, where quantum computing enhances naval communication, and where advanced materials revolutionize ship construction. I'm sure you are aware that technology, which is galloping at the speed of thought, is the glue that brings together cutting-edge capabilities for India to protect its interests at sea. To give an understanding of what technologies can do and why they are crucial for us, we have released suitable roadmaps to inform the industry about our requirements. Some of the niche, disruptive, and cutting-edge technologies that elude us today include the propulsion systems on our ships and submarines, aero engines, strategic underwater capability, high-end sensors and weapon systems, hypersonics, and large uncrewed systems, just to name a few. I'm aware that our R&D labs and industry are working at realizing these capabilities at the earliest. You would also be aware that while the nature of warfare has remained the same over centuries, the character of warfare has changed rapidly and continues to do so. Firstly, the lines between war and peace are increasingly blurred. Secondly, the commercial technologies are democratizing warfare, making it available to non-state actors. And finally, we are moving into an era of mass precision, where highly accurate capabilities and in large numbers both remain important for us. We also know that non-traditional threats, such as acts of terror, can quickly spiral into a wider conflagration and conflict. Use of non-contact warfare, along with space and cyber domains, to wage a conflict with no ceasefires is a reality. In this new paradigm, the industry has to see itself at the front lines of national defense. Our ability to absorb technologies at a rapid pace, translate them into combat capability, build at scale when called upon, what we call surge, and constantly innovate and adapt will define our collective security. So we may not be wrong in saying that national security no longer begins only at borders. It also begins in our R&D labs, in our factories, and in our firewalls. So to conclude, ladies and gentlemen, the maritime domain shall remain critical and central to our journey towards Viksit Bharat 2047 for the reasons which I mentioned. This has been acknowledged at the highest echelons of the nation. In an atmosphere where India's security is threatened by myriad challenges, the Navy's partnerships and industry is crucial to develop requisite capacities and technologies that would enable us to tackle the challenges of today and tomorrow and safeguard our national maritime interests anytime, anywhere, anyhow. I would once again thank the CII for giving me this opportunity to interact with you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Jai Hind, Shamno Varuna.
Thank you, sir. May I now invite Dr. Samir V. Kamath, Secretary, Department of Defense, R&D, and Chairman, DRDO, to address the gathering, please.
Dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries in the audience, ladies and gentlemen. A very good afternoon to all of you. I'm indeed grateful to CII for inviting me here and giving me an opportunity to address you. At the outset, let me place on record DRDO's appreciation of the efforts of the armed forces in conducting Operation Sindoor very successfully. I would also like to take this opportunity to congratulate the Indian industry for helping us in produce the equipment they could use successfully during this operation. I would also like to congratulate the Indian industry for contributing significantly